Portable hardware has advanced to the point where manufacturers promise a fully capable desktop gaming PC can fit directly into your palms. They are taking power-hungry silicon, like the Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme, and squeezing it into a 7-inch chassis. These devices now maintain raw frame rates on modern AAA titles that were physically impossible for portables just a few years ago. But thermodynamics creates a natural limit. When you trap computing power in a tiny enclosure, heat dissipation becomes your immediate bottleneck. This accumulation forces the system to throttle performance, rapidly draining the battery and creating constant anxiety about finding a wall outlet. This creates the central tension of the market. Buyers have to weigh raw processing power against heavy ergonomic sacrifices and shorter play sessions. Selecting a handheld PC today isn't about finding a perfect device. It's about picking your specific flavor of compromise. The Steam Deck OLED serves as the champion of elegant efficiency, designed around a curated, closed-loop console experience. It pairs a modest 50 watt-hour battery with a highly optimized, lightweight Linux operating system called SteamOS. The ASUS ROG Xbox Ally X is the brute force alternative, a Windows-native machine that pushes hardware limits to the absolute brink. Co-developed directly with Microsoft, it carries a massive $1,000 premium price tag in exchange for ultimate native compatibility. This choice represents a hardware and software divide between a curated console and an untethered PC. Running a demanding title like Cyberpunk 2077 portably requires a massive baseline of sustained wattage. ASUS tackled the power drain with brute force, packing an 80 watt-hour battery into the Ally X. Under moderate power profiles, that massive cell sustains 3 to 4 hours of heavy gameplay before reaching zero. Valve takes the opposite approach. The Steam Deck caps its thermal envelope at a strict 15 watts to stretch its smaller battery further, but a larger battery cell creates a severe weight penalty. The Ally X tips the scales at 715 grams, while the Steam Deck rests noticeably lighter at 640. That extra battery capacity keeps the screen on longer, but the added wrist fatigue limits how long you will actually want to hold the device. While both devices feature 7-inch displays, they serve entirely different visual priorities. The Ally X uses a 1080p 120Hz IPS panel, offering crisp visual clarity and the high refresh rates needed for competitive gaming. But rendering at 1080p demands significantly more GPU overhead, which directly undercuts the device's efficiency. Valve opted for an 800p OLED screen instead. The lower resolution requires less power to drive, and the OLED pixels turn off completely to create perfect blacks. Underneath those displays sits the software. The Ally X runs full Windows 11, masked by an Xbox full-screen experience overlay. This grants you native access to Xbox Game Pass, but the moment you drop to the desktop, using analog sticks to navigate tiny Windows menus is an ergonomic nightmare. Windows 11 offers ultimate storefront freedom, while SteamOS trades that openness for a frictionless, instantaneous sleep and resume console experience. Microsoft and ASUS built unique OS-level tools to help bridge the hardware gaps, most notably an AI-driven upscaler called AutoSR. This shows how an internal neural processing unit upscales a lower internal resolution on the fly, requiring no game developer patches to save GPU overhead. The catch is that system-level upscaling can introduce motion latency, and the entire chain relies on easily broken driver updates. If you want to bypass software tricks, the Ally X welcomes physical tinkering, utilizing a standard M.2 280 slot, so you can install cheaper desktop SSDs. But swapping that drive comes with a time penalty. Reinstalling the custom Windows OS through ASUS Cloud Recovery moves at a glacial pace. Power users are wiping Windows entirely to install Bazite, a Linux distribution that reduces system overhead, though doing so breaks the native Game Pass compatibility you paid a premium for. The Ally X is a tinkerer's dream, but to keep it optimized, you have to accept acting as your own IT department. All of this hardware and software tweaking ultimately crashes into the financial reality of the retail price. This scorecard plots the base Steam Deck OLED at $549 against the $999 asking price of the Ally X. That $450 premium delivers a significant financial penalty on your cost per frame, as you pay more for diminishing returns on raw performance. And the math gets even worse internationally. In regions like India, Import duties push the Ally X into the 80 to 90,000 rupee luxury tier. Outside the US, the Ally X is priced against traditional gaming laptops, making its value proposition extremely hard to justify for casual players. The final decision comes down to matching the hardware with how you plan to use it. If you prioritize simplicity, travel battery, and a flawless sleep and resume cycle, buy the Steam Deck OLED. If you demand Game Pass and 1080p resolution, buy the Ally X and accept the wait. If you are budget conscious but need Windows, the base $599 Xbox Ally saves serious cash. Success with these devices depends on the exact level of daily friction you are willing to tolerate in exchange for that power.